Tens of thousands of Venezuelans take to the streets, split in purpose amid vocal opposition against President Nicolas Maduro, passionate defense of the embattled leader too. Hello, I'm Anand Naidu, and this is The Heat. The opposition in Venezuela, led by the self-declared interim President Juan Guaido, called for a new round of demonstrations to pressure President Nicolas Maduro to step down. Protesters also demanded the military allow blocked humanitarian aid into the country. At the same time, supporters of President Maduro rallied against what they called imperialist intervention, referring to United States support for Guaido as well as U.S. sanctions. For more, we turn now to CGTN Stephen Gibbs. He's in Caracas. And Stephen, Tuesday's demonstrations were called for political reasons, but the country is also in the midst of an economic crisis. How's the economic situation playing into the politics there?
Well, I think it's impossible to detach the economics from the politics here. The reason the opposition is able to get out these big numbers on the street is not just a sort of cry for freedom, as they would put it, it's also a cry for prosperity. This is an economy that has completely crashed in the last 5 years since President Maduro took over from Hugo Chavez. The GDP has shrunk by 50%. That's a figure pretty much unheard of in any modern economic history, with the exception of Syria. You've got the minimum wage here, which could be called the median wage. It's what doctors and teachers earn. Is now at the official exchange rate around $5 a month. So that's what's the background really to all this. Now, what has happened in the last fortnight is there has been a very deliberate tightening of the screws by the United States. The US hasn't really had major sanctions on the bigger Venezuelan economy over the last few years. It has sanctioned individuals, but in the last fortnight, it's very deliberately sanctioned the oil company of Venezuela, PDVSA, banning US companies pretty much from trading with it. And that is part of a plan of which the opposition leader, Juan Guaido, is part of, and that is to turn the screws on the Maduro government and to make what is also happening here, the humanitarian aid at the borders of this country, make it seem even more attractive than it is already. This is a country that has a very serious humanitarian problem within Venezuela, but the economy looks like potentially it's going to go off the precipice in the next few days and weeks because of that sanctions on the oil company of Venezuela, which is the main source of cash income for this country. The Venezuelan government trying to divert its exports of oil to other markets, but there's no question that the economy is going to tighten in the next few days, next few weeks, and as I say, that is, the opposition will hope, plays to its advantage.
Stephen, Juan Guaido declared himself the interim president on January 23rd, but Nicolas Maduro is still in power. So who's running the country day to day?
Oh, there's absolutely no question that the person who is running this country is President Maduro and his senior advisors. Juan Guaido is president really in name only. He is recognized by some very significant players in this region, most of the countries of South America, most of the countries of Europe, the United States and Canada. They all don't just oppose President Maduro, but they do see him no longer as president anymore. They say that Juan Guaido is president. But as I say, President Maduro, he has all the institutions, the key institutions on his side, the army, the courts really, the economy, what is left of the economy is under his control. So Juan Guaido is attempting to, run a sort of rival government. He's appointing ambassadors, etc. But really the man in charge is President Maduro. The plan of Juan Guaido is that President Maduro somehow goes quietly, but we're not seeing any sign at all of that really. In the last 2 days, I'd say what we've been seeing from President Maduro is him saying, look, I'm in charge, life continues as normal here. He even presented a sort of new plan to present Venezuela as an international tourist destination yesterday. So that's the message from him. I'm the president, I remain in the palace, but we have this extraordinary situation with all of the sort of key Western democracies backing someone else as the president of Venezuela.